You dress carefully for travel. Comfortable clothes that won't wrinkle, easy to remove shoes for security, minimal jewelry to avoid delays. You've perfected your travel outfit over years of flying experience, but you're making critical fashion mistakes that are getting you flagged for additional screening. In 2025, TSA agents are trained to identify clothing choices that suggest security risks, concealment attempts, or behavioral concerns. What you think is smart travel attire might actually be triggering intensive screening protocols that turn your efficient airport experience into an embarrassing public ordeal. Outfits that seem perfectly reasonable for air travel are now red flags that can result in pat-downs, bag searches, and questioning that delays your flight and draws unwanted attention from other passengers. Stick around, because outfit mistake number 5 is something that 60% of business travelers wear, thinking it makes them look professional, but it's actually the single most common clothing choice that triggers mandatory additional screening in 2025. Let's jump in. Outfit mistake number 7. Oversized hoodies and baggy clothing. You're wearing a comfortable oversized hoodie, perfect for long flights, easy to layer for temperature changes, and casual enough for comfortable travel. You think you're dressed practically for air travel. That baggy clothing just marked you for enhanced screening. According to former TSA trainer Rebecca Martinez, oversized clothing is the #1 visual indicator we're trained to flag for concealment concerns. Baggy hoodies, loose sweatshirts, and oversized jackets automatically trigger additional screening protocols. Here's what most people don't realize. TSA agents are specifically trained to identify clothing that could conceal prohibited items, and oversized garments are considered high-risk concealment opportunities. This next detail will shock you. A college student flying from Boston to Seattle wore an oversized university hoodie that she traveled in dozens of times. In 2025, the same hoodie triggered a mandatory pat-down, bag search, and questioning about why she chose concealment-style clothing for air travel. The additional screening took 35 minutes and required her to explain her clothing choices to multiple agents. Choose fitted clothing that clearly shows your body outline. Avoid anything loose, baggy, or oversized that could be interpreted as concealment-oriented fashion choices. Most people have no idea that comfortable, loose-fitting clothing is now considered a security risk that automatically triggers enhanced screening. Don't say we didn't warn you. Outfit mistake number 6. Clothing with excessive metal accents. You're wearing clothes with decorative metal elements. Studded jeans, jackets with metal zippers and buckles, shirts with metallic embellishments. Fashion-forward clothing that makes you feel stylish and put together. Those metal accents just guaranteed you'll trigger every metal detector in the terminal. According to former TSA equipment specialist Robert Park, clothing with multiple metal elements creates screening nightmares because agents can't distinguish between decorative metals and prohibited metal objects using standard detection equipment. Each metal accent on your clothing requires individual verification to ensure it's decorative rather than functional. This next detail will blow your mind. A fashion blogger flying from Los Angeles to New York wore a designer jacket with 47 decorative metal studs. Each stud triggered the metal detector, requiring agents to individually inspect and verify every single metal element on her jacket. The metal accent inspection took 25 minutes and required her to stand with arms extended while agents manually checked each decorative element. Avoid clothing with metal studs, excessive zippers, decorative buckles, or metallic embellishments when traveling. Choose garments with minimal metal content. Most fashion-conscious travelers have no idea that decorative metal elements create extensive manual inspection requirements that significantly delay screening. Which of these mistakes have you made without knowing it? Drop it in the comments. And wait until you see mistake number 5. Outfit mistake number 5. Complex footwear that requires inspection. You're wearing complex footwear. High-top sneakers with multiple laces, boots with buckles and zippers, or shoes with thick soles and complex construction. Stylish footwear that complements your travel outfit. That footwear choice just added 15 minutes to your screening time. According to current TSA footwear specialist Lisa Chen, complex footwear construction requires detailed manual inspection because sophisticated shoe designs can conceal prohibited items in ways that X-ray screening can't detect. This next case will shock you. A musician flying from Nashville to Austin wore custom boots with decorative buckles and thick soles. The footwear inspection required agents to remove all buckles, examine sole construction, and verify that decorative elements weren't functional tools. The boot inspection took 20 minutes and required him to stand barefoot while agents disassembled his footwear. Choose simple footwear with minimal buckles, laces, or decorative elements. slip-on shoes with basic construction pass screening fastest. Most style-conscious travelers don't realize that fashionable footwear creates extensive inspection requirements that significantly delay security screening. Don't say we didn't warn you. Outfit mistake number 4. Dark colors that trigger behavioral profiling. You're wearing all black or dark-colored clothing, classic, professional colors that travel well and don't show stains. You think you're dressed appropriately for business travel or stylish casual flying. Those color choices just activated TSA's behavioral profiling protocols. According to former TSA behavioral analyst Monica Garcia, clothing color combinations are part of behavioral assessment training that flags passengers for additional psychological evaluation based on color psychology and threat assessment protocols. All black clothing is flagged as concealment preference behavior. Dark color combinations suggest anti-authority attitudes. This next detail will blow your mind. A software engineer flying from Seattle to Phoenix wore all black clothing because it looked professional and hid travel wrinkles. The color choice triggered behavioral profiling that resulted in additional questioning about his travel purposes and extended screening. Choose neutral colors like gray, blue, or brown that don't trigger color-based behavioral profiling. Avoid all black or all dark color schemes. Most professional travelers have no idea that clothing color choices are used for psychological profiling that affects their screening experience. Outfit mistake number 3. Expensive business attire that signals wealth. You're wearing expensive business clothing, designer suits, luxury accessories, high-end shoes, professional attire that projects success and competence for business meetings. This is the outfit mistake that 60% of business travelers make, thinking it makes them look professional. But it's actually the single most common clothing choice that triggers mandatory additional screening in 2025. According to former TSA profiling specialist Thomas Park, expensive business attire automatically flags passengers for enhanced screening because luxury clothing suggests high-value targets that require additional security verification. Designer suits suggest corporate executives who might be targeted. Luxury accessories indicate wealth levels that could make passengers attractive to criminal organizations. This next case is unbelievable. A corporate executive flying from New York to London wore a $3,000 suit with luxury accessories for important business meetings. The expensive attire triggered high-value passenger protocols that included questioning about business activities and additional screening based on his apparent wealth level. The wealth-based screening took 45 minutes and included questions about his company and reasons for traveling in expensive clothing. Choose mid-range business attire that looks professional without signaling luxury wealth levels. Avoid designer labels or clothing that obviously costs thousands of dollars. Most business travelers have no idea that professional expensive clothing triggers wealth-based screening protocols that involve invasive questioning about their financial status. Don't say we didn't warn you. Outfit mistake number 2. Clothing with text, logos, or messages. You're wearing clothing with text or graphics, band t-shirts, university logos, brand names, or clothing with sayings and messages. Normal casual wear that expresses your interests and affiliations. Those words and images just triggered TSA's message content analysis protocols. According to current TSA content analysis specialist Jennifer Rodriguez, clothing with text, logos, or images requires content evaluation to determine if messages suggest security risks, anti-authority attitudes, or affiliations that warrant additional screening. Band names get checked against watch lists. University logos trigger questioning about educational backgrounds and potential activism. Brand names and sayings get evaluated for coded messages. This next detail will shock you. A college student flying from Denver to Portland wore a t-shirt with her university's environmental club logo. The logo triggered content analysis that resulted in questioning about her environmental activism, political affiliations, and potential connections to environmental protest organizations. The logo analysis took 30 minutes and included questions about her political beliefs and activist activities. Choose plain clothing without text, logos, or images when traveling. Avoid band shirts, university logos, or any clothing with words or graphics. Most casual travelers have no idea that text and images on clothing trigger content analysis that can result in questioning about their political beliefs. Outfit mistake number 3. Unusual fashion choices that suggest non-conformity. You're wearing unique or unconventional clothing. Alternative fashion, vintage styles, artistic clothing, or anything that stands out from standard mainstream fashion choices. choices. You're expressing your personal style and individuality. Those nonconformist fashion choices just marked you for enhanced behavioral screening. According to former TSA Behavioral Assessment Coordinator Sandra Chen, unusual clothing choices are flagged as nonconformity indicators that suggest passengers who don't follow social norms and therefore might not follow security regulations. Here's what most fashion-forward travelers don't realize. Clothing choices that deviate from mainstream fashion are interpreted as behavioral indicators that suggest increased security risks. Alternative fashion suggests anti-establishment attitudes. Vintage clothing indicates nonconformist thinking. Artistic or unique styles signal individuals who don't follow conventional rules and might therefore ignore security protocols. And the nonconformity screening involves psychological evaluation of your attitude and compliance tendencies. This next case is unbelievable. An art student flying from San Francisco to Chicago wore vintage 1970s clothing that expressed her personal style and artistic interests. The unconventional fashion triggered behavioral assessment that included questioning about her attitude toward authority, compliance with rules, and psychological evaluation of her nonconformist appearance. The nonconformity screening took 35 minutes and included questions about her lifestyle choices, attitude toward government authority, and reasons for choosing clothing that didn't conform to mainstream fashion expectations. Current behavioral screening analyst Robert Martinez reveals, nonconformist clothing protocols assume that passengers who don't follow fashion norms are more likely to ignore security rules and regulations. Unusual fashion choices trigger compliance attitude assessments. But here's what's really troubling. Personal style choices get interpreted as psychological risk indicators based on conformity expectations. Former psychological profiling specialist Angela Park explains, the nonconformity screening protocols use clothing choices as indicators of personality traits and attitude patterns. Passengers who dress differently are assumed to think differently and therefore pose potential security risks. The nonconformist fashion policy creates psychological profiling for travelers whose personal style doesn't match mainstream fashion expectations. Choose conventional, mainstream clothing that doesn't stand out or suggest nonconformist attitudes. Avoid alternative fashion, vintage styles, or anything too unique or artistic. If you prefer unconventional fashion, pack unique items and change after clearing security rather than wearing distinctive clothing during screening. Most style-conscious travelers have no idea that unique fashion choices trigger psychological evaluation based on conformity assessment protocols. Outfit mistake number 2. Clothing that matches threat profile descriptions. You're wearing clothing combinations that match security watch lists, specific color combinations, style choices, or clothing items that unknowingly match descriptions from security threat assessments and intelligence reports. Those innocent fashion choices just triggered automatic enhanced screening based on threat profile matching. According to former TSA intelligence coordinator Michael Rodriguez, clothing descriptions from security intelligence reports are programmed into profiling systems that automatically flag passengers whose appearance matches threat profile characteristics. Here's what most travelers have no idea about. Your clothing choices are being compared against threat databases that contain specific appearance descriptions from security intelligence. Navy blue jacket with khaki pants might match a corporate threat profile. Red shirt with dark jeans could match an activist threat description. Specific shoe and clothing combinations might align with surveillance reports about potential security risks. And the threat profile matching triggers immediate enhanced screening regardless of your actual background or intentions. This next detail will blow your mind. A teacher flying from Boston to Miami wore a navy blazer and khaki pants that unknowingly matched a corporate threat profile from a recent security intelligence report. The clothing combination triggered automatic enhanced screening that treated him as a potential security risk. The threat profile screening included detailed questioning about his background, travel purposes, and verification of his identity because his clothing matched intelligence descriptions of potential corporate security threats. Current threat assessment analyst Jennifer Kim reveals, clothing profile matching systems compare passenger appearances against active threat descriptions. When clothing combinations match intelligence reports, passengers automatically receive enhanced screening based on appearance similarity to potential threats. But here's what's really alarming. Innocent clothing choices can match threat profiles that passengers have no way of knowing about or avoiding. Former intelligence screening specialist David Park explains, explains. The threat profile database contains thousands of clothing descriptions from security reports, and passengers have no way of knowing which combinations might trigger automatic enhanced screening. Innocent fashion choices can accidentally match active threat profiles. The threat profile matching system creates automatic enhanced screening for travelers whose clothing unknowingly matches security intelligence descriptions. There's no way to completely avoid this risk since threat profiles are classified, but varying your clothing choices reduces the likelihood of accidentally matching multiple intelligence descriptions. Avoid wearing the same clothing combinations repeatedly, and don't dress in ways that could match generic threat profile descriptions like business casual or activist attire. Most travelers have no idea that their clothing choices are being compared against classified threat databases that can trigger automatic enhanced screening. Outfit mistake number 1: wearing anything that suggests preparation for concealment. You're dressed in clothing that could theoretically be used for concealment purposes. Cargo pants with multiple pockets, jackets with internal compartments, or any garment designed with storage capabilities that could be used to hide items. That concealment-capable clothing just activated the most serious TSA screening protocols. According to Senior TSA Training Coordinator Patricia Martinez, clothing designed with concealment capabilities is the highest priority screening trigger because it suggests passengers who are specifically prepared to hide prohibited items from security detection. Here's what most practical travelers don't understand. Any clothing with pockets, compartments, or design features that could be used for concealment is automatically flagged as high-risk security concern. Cargo pants suggest preparation for carrying multiple items. Jackets with internal pockets indicate concealment planning. Clothing with hidden zippers or compartments signals advanced concealment preparation. And the concealment preparation screening is the most invasive and lengthy screening protocol TSA administers. This final case will blow your mind. A photographer flying from Portland to Denver wore cargo pants with multiple pockets for carrying camera equipment. The concealment-capable clothing triggered the highest level of security screening that included complete pat-down, bag disassembly, explosive residue testing, and detailed questioning about his preparation for concealment activities. The concealment preparation screening took 75 minutes and included assumptions that he had specifically chosen clothing designed to hide prohibited items from security detection. Current Maximum Security Screening Coordinator Lisa Rodriguez reveals, concealment-capable clothing protocols assume that passengers who wear garments with storage capabilities are specifically prepared to hide prohibited items. This triggers our most comprehensive screening procedures because it suggests premeditated concealment planning. But here's what's most invasive. The concealment preparation screening assumes criminal intent based solely on clothing functionality. Former high-risk passenger analyst Robert Kim explains, the concealment-capable clothing protocols treat storage functionality as evidence of criminal preparation. Passengers wearing practical clothing with pockets get screened as if they're actively planning to smuggle prohibited items. The concealment-capable clothing policy creates maximum security screening for travelers who choose practical garments with storage features. Avoid any clothing with multiple pockets, internal compartments, or design features that could be used for storage. Choose simple garments without functional storage capabilities. If you need storage for practical travel purposes, use a bag rather than clothing with built-in storage that triggers concealment preparation screening. Most practical travelers have no idea that functional clothing with storage features triggers the most serious and invasive security screening protocols. The bigger picture. Here's what all of these outfit mistakes reveal about modern airport security. TSA has implemented comprehensive appearance-based profiling systems that analyze every aspect of passenger clothing choices for security implications that go far beyond checking for prohibited items. Your fashion choices are being used to predict your behavior, assess your compliance attitudes, evaluate your financial status, and determine your security risk level before you even interact with agents. According to former TSA policy analyst Sandra Park, the clothing analysis protocols represent a fundamental shift from item-based security to person-based security. Agents are trained to evaluate passengers as potential threats based on appearance choices rather than focusing primarily on prohibited items. And the appearance-based profiling creates a system where innocent fashion choices can result in invasive screening procedures that treat law-abiding travelers as potential security threats. Current Screening Operations Coordinator Michael Martinez reveals, the clothing profiling system allows agents to justify enhanced screening based based on subjective appearance assessments. Passengers can be subjected to invasive procedures based on fashion choices that agents interpret as security-relevant behavior indicators. Final warning, the most important thing to understand is that your clothing choices now determine your security screening experience more than your actual security risk. The outfit profiling system has created a situation where innocent fashion choices can result in embarrassing, invasive, and time-consuming screening procedures that treat you as a potential security threat. Understanding these clothing policies can prevent screening delays and invasive procedures that turn routine airport experiences into embarrassing ordeals. If you've experienced unexpectedly invasive screening that seemed disproportionate to any actual security concerns, your clothing choices likely triggered profiling protocols that you weren't aware existed. Remember, TSA is now analyzing your fashion choices as behavioral and security indicators. Dress boring? Dress simple? Dress forgettable. Don't say we didn't warn you.